Hello traders, welcome to the weekly top-down analysis. So let us begin. We are beginning with volatility 101S, and we always start analyzing by marking our supply in the demand zones. So as we can see, price has been pushing up. However, we have just stepped into this supply zone right there. So price has stepped into this supply zone. Therefore, I'm going to see how price is going to react at this level, whether the sellers will come in or the buyers still have momentum to push up. So we have our supply zone right there, and then down here we have our demand zone where price has been pushing, up from this demand zone right there. Therefore, my buyers for this week, as you can see, price is at this supply zone. Therefore, I'm gonna be looking for selling setups this week until I see that buyers still have momentum to continue pushing to the next supply zone, which is right there at those levels. But for this week, I'm gonna be looking for selling opportunities until I see buyers still have momentum to push up, and then I will change my buyers. But for now, I'm looking to take selling positions. As we can see from this supply zone, the sellers are rejecting at this level, and there's nothing much on the daily time frame. Heading over to the 4 hours. So from the 4 hours time frame, we just remove this level so that it will be very clear. Right. So from the 4 hours time frame, we can see that was the last break of structure to the upside. So that was the last break of structure. So that was the last break of structure to the upside. And then we had a change of character right there, where the buyers could not maintain structure. The sellers came in and broke structure at that level. That is a change of character right there to indicate the sellers are stepping into the market at that point, which is our supply zone. So we have a change of character right there. And then the other block which caused the change of character from the 4 hours time frame, it is that order block right there, which is our order block from the 4 hours time frame. As we can see, price did not yet mitigate that order block, therefore can become a point of interest where we can wait for price to go and retrace into that order block. If we go over to the 1 hour time frame, from the 1 hour we can clearly see what transpired. So that was the last break of structure. To the to the upside, and then we have a change of character when sellers stepped into the market at that point where they broke structure, and then the order block which caused the break or the change of character is right there, which was not mitigated, or order block wasn't mitigated. However, price reacted from the FVG. So from our FVG, that is where price reacted, and we are getting a push to the downside. So we have price reacting from the fair value gap, right there. Now, the order block which caused this change of character is right there. So the change of character happened right there at that point. That is where we had a change of character, where the buyers could not maintain structure, and then sellers stepped in right there. And then now we have a new break of structure we can target. So we have our order block right there. So we have our order block right there. We just change the colors. So we have our order block right there. And then we have the recent break of structure, which is right there at that point. So we have a break of structure right there at that point. We have a break of structure, and then we have an unmitigated order block. Therefore, we are now waiting for price to go and tap into that order block, and then give us a push to the downside, a push to the downside. And then if buyers still have momentum, then they'll break this level. But as of now, what I'm seeing from the charts is that the sellers have stepped into the market and they are ready to push the price down. Therefore, I'm going ahead to place my coordinates for the sell limit with my entry price right there, the order block, and then my stop loss, which is slightly above the order block, and then my take profit is going to be there, or that is your first take profit right there, and then your second take profit, and then your third TP, and then your fourth TP right there, and then your fifth TP right there, and then your sixth TP. So these are the take profit levels you can use. So you can go ahead and place the sell limit with your entry price at 1661.59 with your stop loss at 1722.43, and then your take profit, your first take profit at 1491.29, second one at 1380.92, third one at 1267.49, fourth one at 1127.99 until it goes at this last TP. Now for the TP, it depends on where you want to to get out, or you can hold until the last TP. But yes, these are the coordinates of the sell limit, and always apply proper risk management. So that's what I'm expecting. That's the move that I'll be watching out for this week on Volatility 101S. And then if we head over to Volatility 100 from the weekly time frame, we can go ahead and mark our supply zone right there. We can go ahead and mark our supply zone. And then our demand is down here where price has been pushing for weeks. Now price is now at this first demand level. Therefore, this week I'm going to be looking for selling opportunities until I see that the buyers are ready to break this level. Then I'll continue with the trend. Otherwise, from the look of things from the weekly time frame, the sellers are at this supply zone. Therefore, I'm going to be looking for selling opportunities until I see reasons why I should change my buyers. All right, so we are at this supply zone, and I can see we are getting some rejections at this level already, which is looking like the sellers are ready to step in. They are stepping in. And then if we go over to the 4 hours time frame, we can be able to study the price action that happened. So we have a break of structure right there, which was the last break of structure to the upside before the buyer stepped into that supply zone. So we have a break of structure right there. And then we also have our change of character right there. Change of character happened at that level where the buyers could not maintain structure and the sellers stepped in, which is an indication to me that the buyers are losing momentum and the sellers are ready to take control of this market. So that is a change of character. And then the order block, which caused that change of character, it's right there from the 4 hours time frame. It is that order block right there. It is that order block where price has stepped in. So break of structure, change of character, price went back to go and mitigate. It went back for the second time, and now we are getting a push to the downside. So it looks like the sellers have stepped into the market. So I'm going ahead to place to be looking for selling opportunities. If we head over to the 1 hour time frame, we can be able to see what transpired at this level. So we have our order block right there. So we have that being the last break of structure, being the last break of structure to the upside before price stepped into that supply zone. And then right at this level, this is a change of character where the buyers could not maintain structure, and the sellers stepped in. Can see the sellers want to go and mitigate this order block. It tapped in and then it came back at this level, went again to tap in, and now we are getting a push to the downside. Therefore, I'm just looking for order blocks that were not mitigated as price was moving down. So there was a break of structure here, a break of structure. Price want to go and mitigate this order block, and we are still playing around this order block right here. So that is the most recent break of structure. That is the most recent break of structure. So we have a break of structure right there. Break of structure, and then the order block is where price is mitigated, and it's pushing from that order block to the downside. Now, if we want to enter this trend, we have to wait for price to clear this level, which will be a break of structure should that happen. So we are gonna wait for price. There's no coordinates for the sell limit. However, we are going to wait for price to break this low. So this is a move that I'm waiting for it to happen, for price to show me that, okay, the sellers have broken this structure, and then retrace and go and mitigate my order block. And then I can expect a move to the downside. That's the only way I will enter this trend. I have to see that happening, and we are going to hold this trade until that point, which will be our last take profit at that point of reversal right there. So that is what I'm expecting to happen before I can place a trade. I need to see the sellers clearing this low, go back in for a retest at my order block, and then I can continue, or I can get an entry right when this happens. All right, traders, that's how I do my weekly top-down analysis. If you did enjoy this episode, please consider subscribing to the channel and become part of the family, and happy trading. See you next week.